If you get up in the morning and think the future is going to be better, it is a bright day. Otherwise, it's not. Failure is an option here. If things are not failing, you are not innovating enough. Persistence is very important. You should not give up unless you are forced to give up. I think it's very important to have a feedback loop where you're constantly thinking about what you've done and how you could be doing it better. When something is important enough, you do it even if the odds are not in your favor. I don't create companies for the sake of creating companies, but to get things done. I think it is possible for ordinary people to choose to be extraordinary. I could either watch it happen or be a part of it. When I was in college, I wanted to be involved in things that would change the world. You want to be extra rigorous about making the best possible thing you can. Find everything that's wrong with it and fix it. Seek negative feedback, particularly from friends. People should pursue what they're passionate about. That will make them happier than pretty much anything else. If you're trying to create a company, it's like baking a cake. You have to have all the ingredients in the right proportion. Really, the only thing that makes sense is to strive for greater collective enlightenment. The first step is to establish that something is possible. Then probability will occur. I think it's very important to have a good feedback loop where you're constantly thinking about what you've done and how you could be doing it better. It is a mistake to hire huge numbers of people to get a complicated job done. Numbers will never compensate for talent, and getting the right answer to people who don't know something or know better than one will tend to slow down progress and will make the task incredibly expensive.
I think we have a duty to maintain the light of consciousness to make sure it continues into the future.
You want to have a future where you're expecting things to be better, not one where you're expecting things to be worse. I don't spend my time pontificating about high-concept things. I spend my time solving engineering and manufacturing problems. I think it's very important to have a good feedback loop where you're constantly thinking about what you've done and how you could be doing it better. What's dangerous is not to evolve. If you double the number of experiments you do per year, you're going to double your inventiveness. I knew that if I failed, I wouldn't regret that. But I knew the one thing I might regret is not trying. We see our customers as invited guests to a party, and we are the hosts. It's our job every day to make every important aspect of the customer experience a little bit better. In the end, we are our choices. Your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. Work hard, have fun, and make history. I think frugality drives innovation, just like other constraints do. One of the only ways to get out of a tight box is to invent your way out. The best customer service is if the customer doesn't need to call you, doesn't need to talk to you, it just works. A brand for a company is like a reputation for a person. You earn reputation by trying to do hard things well. If you're not stubborn, you'll give up on experiments too soon, and if you're not flexible, you'll pound your head against the wall and you won't see a different solution to a problem you're trying to solve. The human brain is an incredible pattern matching machine. If you can't tolerate critics, don't do anything new or interesting. The common question that gets asked in business is why? That's a good question, but an equally valid question is why not? What we need to do is always lean into the future. When the world changes around you and when it changes against you, what used to be a tailwind is now a headwind. You have to lean into that and figure out what to do because complaining isn't a strategy. We are stubborn on vision. We are flexible on details. You want to be misunderstood. If you're misunderstood, that probably means you're saying something new. Life's too short to hang out with people who aren't resourceful. We innovate by starting with the customer and working backward. That becomes the touchstone for how we invent. We've had 3 big ideas at Amazon that we've stuck with for 18 years, and they're the reason we're successful. Put the customer first, invent, and be patient. You don't choose your passions choose you. The best way to predict the future is to invent it. You want to be criticized if you have a high-profile project, because it means people care about the project. You can have the best technology, you can have the best business model, but if the storytelling isn't amazing, it won't matter. Invention comes in many forms and at many scales. The most radical and transformative of inventions are often those that empower others to unleash their creativity. There have only been about a half-dozen genuinely important events in the 4 billion year saga of life on Earth: single-cell life, multicell life, differentiation into plants and animals, movement of animals from water to land, and the advent of mammals and consciousness. My vision is for a fully reusable rocket transport system between Earth and Mars that is able to refuel on Mars. This is very important, so you don't have to carry the return fuel when you go there. You need to live in a dome initially, but over time you could terraform Mars to look like Earth, and eventually walk around outside without anything on, so it's a fixer-upper of a planet. To our knowledge, life exists on only one planet, Earth, If something bad happens, it's gone. I think we should establish life on another planet Mars. In particular, what we ray not making very good progress. SpaceX is intended to make that happen. The extension of life beyond Earth is the most important thing we can do as a species.